to our correspondent Jorge Gestoso in Guatemala. Jorge, thank you so much for being here with us. Now, Guatemala will have to hold a runoff since none of the candidates got more than 50% of the votes. Morales clearly leads this first round, but the next two are practically in a tie. How do you think this will play out? Do you think there will be accusations of fraud between the two? Gestoso, can you hear me?
Yes.
Jorge?
Yes, Regan. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. Good to see you. How do you think the elections will play out, considering that none of the candidates got more than 50% of the votes? Morales clearly leads right now, but the other two are seemingly in a tie. Do you think there will be accusations of fraud between the final two?
Well, it's a big question mark. No one really has a certain answer. What definitely it's the most important headline of this first round, because it's going to be a runoff, is that according to all the analysts, and I quote, they say that Jimmy Morales' surprising performance definitely was a surprise, was a sign of voter discontent. They say a vote of punishment against the traditional candidates. And as you mentioned, traditional candidates are at this very moment fighting vote to vote for the second round, according to the latest information for the Electoral Tribunal, with 97.35% of the votes counted. The difference is 1% between the candidate Sandra Torres with 19.6% and Manuel Valdizón with 19.5%. So nothing is really, as of this moment, decided of who's going to be having the runoff. The runoff is going to be on October the 25th. And we know that Jimmy Morales, a comedian with no live political experience, is going to be, with 24% of the vote, is going to be one of them. Now the big question mark is who is going to be the second one, and what sort of alliances they're going to try to build in order to try to defeat basically the newcomer, the outsider, that is Jimmy Morales.
Now, Morales, who's leading, has no experience at all in government. He is, however, related to Perez Molina. What do you think is attributed to his support, the support he's been getting from Guatemalans?
Well, in reality, most definitely he has a support. He has connected with some part of the electorate that they were sick and tired with corruption, with politicians that they said that any of them were really part of a solution. They were part of the problem of corruption, the part of the problem of big areas where basically bribery is rampant and so on and so forth. So I think that he's going to have a lot of opportunities to build most definitely alliances with the rest of the other groups, and most of the analysts are pretty optimistic that his performance on a runoff is going to be pretty well.
Jorge, last question for you. Considering all that's been happening, many social movements on the ground say that these elections will solve absolutely nothing. How are those social movements reacting to the results thus far?
Well, again, there was a lot of skepticism. The choices were, again, the least bad of all the options, but definitely there is optimism that the movement, the social movement that really pushed the former President Otto Pérez Molina and his former Vice President Roxana Balsetti to jail, that movement believes that are going to continue building their momentum, that most probably is going to transform in a political movement, and they believe that they're going to obtain what they really were demanding, that they were demanding even before the elections, that they didn't get it, was a thorough political reform, a thorough political reform of political parties, because according to them, with this old system, is the perpetration of the same vices of this political arena, that is, as I was mentioning, bribery. Basically, we're talking what we have witnessed lately, that is absolutely a corrupted system that leaves outside 80% of the population. 80% of the population, even according to the presidential candidate Sandra Torres, are poor, and those sectors of the population, the indigenous people, mostly the social movements, and also some of the workers, are not really represented in any of the candidates that they were playing this election. So the mood is optimism, but the mood is there's a long way ahead, that they're thinking that they need to keep pushing, and they believe that finally the tide has turned, and this old guard is quickly getting away, getting out of the history of this country, and a new era is possible to be implemented with less corruption, with less bribery, with less all we have seen for decades here in Guatemala.
And definitely we'll be following these developments closer. Thank you so much, Jorge, for your awesome reporting. We'll catch up with you another time.